All right, happy holidays, everyone. This is a trade review of a NASDAQ 100 position that I took earlier today. I'm actually going to go over two positions that I took. One was a counter trend sell, and the other was a pro trend buy. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to start out with the counter trend, even though I'm showing the pro trend move. So going out to the 4 hour time frame. What we're looking at right now is the overall market condition. Now, seeing this high, this low, but understanding that the macro trend is bullish, went over in the outlook that this was a area of interest that I was looking for that filled this price gap. Then this filled 100% of the price gap, and then we got 50% mitigation, and now we are up here. So because of that, obviously, if I'm looking for opportunities, I need to assess what's going on inside of this consolidatory area here. And so what I ended up doing was assessing this consolidatory range from this high down to this low. I was looking for opportunities just, to uh, place some intraday trades. And I end up stumbling upon this 5 minute opportunity based on this price action moving lower here. I saw it was very decisive, moving downward. We created inefficient pricing, specifically a price gap right here, which is following, which is following the mitigation of another price gap, which is actually right here. And so this action of mitigation of a previous price gap led me to see opportunity for the second price gap. So because this price gap was filled here and generated a new price gap that led to a break of structure here, that's what triggered my look for execution, in which I actually entered off of 50% of this price gap here, targeting this low here, understanding that it's counter trend. And so the trade setup actually looked like this. So I entered at 50%. My stop loss was here at the high there, and I took profit at the low here because this is a counter trend play. And so that ended up doing this, went a little bit higher than expected, but ultimately exited there. And so the next opportunity, which happened immediately after this, was also derived from the 4 hour time frame, and understanding that, hey, the pro trend move here is based on the liquidity draw of this consolidatory area. Now, it also not only is a liquidity draw, but a mitigation of 50% of this price gap, which is, a double mitigation, but nonetheless, the liquidity draw, you had the mitigation and then you have a liquidity draw of the liquidity draw or of the mitigation. So essentially what I was looking at was this low that I had chosen for a target for the counter trend sell was the conservative target, which I'm glad I did because obviously you can see exactly what happened here. So that low there, once that low was swept, or once we drew liquidity from that low, I immediately went down to the 5 minute time frame again, and I wanted to assess the price action going the opposite way to frame up any opportunities. And so looking at this, obviously, I always look for the price action going towards the target, and then I want to assess the break of structure or transition of price action, bearish to bullish in this particular case, to look for any inefficiencies generated on the transition. And so if I'm looking at this, I see we have a high, a low, a high, the break of that liquidity target. All right, cool. Then we have the next high, we have a low. So then that low right there was a liquidity draw in itself, just on the micro perspective. This right here is the macro perspective liquidity draw, or the 4 hour time frame liquidity draw. And then we have that draw, and then we have a run. This run broke two levels of structure. Only one was needed to confirm that, I would be looking for an opportunity there. That's not what it is. But we had that high taken there, and then, well, I said two levels, but it's multiple levels, and then that high taken there. So once I saw that multiple levels of structure from the micro time frame were broken, this solidified to me, okay, we're definitely transitioning. So now I look for my opportunity, and that was resolved in this 5 minute time frame. This was the 5 minute price gap, the origin of the move that led to the breaks of structure, right? So the first break of structure, this is the origin, assessing the order flow from the bottom up. We can see that all the wicks, all the candles are touching each other. So there's no inefficiency. This is efficient order flow. And so the inefficiency exists from here to here in this price gap. That's the last point before the bus driver analogized took off. And so he's like, oh, dang, I forgot somebody. So he can't forget somebody. Don't want to tarnish reputation. Came back, mitigated 100% of the price gap, had my stop loss at the low, and then obviously targeting the previous 4 hour liquidity point, which is that high. And that is exactly what happened. And so I took this trade. This actually ended up being a 12.7 to 1. Perfect, beautiful execution, pro trend. Took a counter trend play as well. I try to prioritize the pro trend moves, but when the opportunities arise, I mean, you don't really want to pass them up. Money is money, or profit is profit. RR is RR. Percentage is percentage. All right. So those are the two trades that I took on the NASDAQ earlier. I could definitely see this going higher. Obviously, we are in a bullish trend, but seeing that the markets are going to close here pretty soon, I'm going to be a little bit more on the conservative side and sit on the sidelines and see what happens from here. All right. Peace.